Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News Sunrise.
Good Saturday morning, and thanks for waking up with 4029 News Sunrise. I'm Jamie Weiss, and your top stories are just ahead. But first, a very different forecast than this time last week. 4029 meteorologist Brendan Johnson is here with us. Good morning, Brendan. And I gotta say, this is the first time in almost 2 weeks that I didn't need the winter jacket this morning.
I know, wasn't it great?
It was amazing.
Yeah, 40s for many of us. It's a far cry from where we were just a week ago. Teens and 20s to start last Saturday morning.
Well, new this morning, a Springdale sex offender is back in jail, accused of failing to register. Luis Torres was arrested early this morning, and according to the Washington County Detention Center, authorities were not able to give us information on the circumstances surrounding his arrest since the report identifies an underage victim. Torres is currently being held without bond and is due in court on Monday. In your state of addiction coverage, a local police department doing its part to combat the opioid epidemic. The Poto Police Department now has a prescription drop-off box where you can get rid of any old prescription drugs. The contents will be periodically picked up by the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics. And new details this morning in the killing of Saudi journalist and Washington Post contributor Jamal Khashoggi. The CIA now believes they know who ordered Khashoggi's murder. 4029's Matt Pritchard joins us from Washington with what's new this morning. Khashoggi was a journalist working for the Washington Post who wrote extensively critiquing the Saudi royal family, in particular some of the policies spearheaded by the Crown Prince. Well, happening here at home, one city is meeting today to discuss the budget for the Parks and Recreation Department. The Fayetteville Parks and Recreation Advisory Board has approved a budget of nearly $6.7 million for 2019. Some of that money will be used for new projects at Lake Sequoia, Gully Park, and Kessler Mountain Regional Park. Today's meeting starts at 8 o'clock at City Hall. And state leaders are also getting their budgets ready ahead of the new year. Earlier this week, Governor Asa Hutchinson submitted his budget for 2019, calling for a $130 million increase. Some of that money will go to pay raises for teachers. Attorney General Leslie Rutledge asking for a 12% cut for her budget. The budget covers 2020 and 2021 and would result in a combined $6 million in reductions. And Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin is asking for a freeze of his office's budget, calling for the same amount he was given last year. Griffin also announced he's given back about $86,000 from last year's budget that went unused. And a new budget problem for the University of Arkansas for medical sciences. A newly released audit found a $20 million gap between what was reported earlier this year and the end of the year audit. Officials blame the gap on faulty revenue projects. That earlier report was made as the school looked at ways to cut a budget deficit, ultimately laying off about 250 employees. The University of Arkansas Board of Trustees approving new construction projects for the Fayetteville campus. That includes a track and field high performance center at John McConnell Field, an expansion of the Randall Tyson Indoor Track Center, and a baseball performance center at Baum Stadium. All of the money for these projects will be raised by the school and will not use any university funding. New this morning, the Fayetteville School Board exploring options to solve the high school's parking pains. Right now, Fayetteville High has fewer than 500 parking spots for nearly 3,000 students. At a recent board meeting, board members voted to get a more definitive cost estimate on proposed parking solutions. Some of those solutions include building new parking spaces, establishing an e-scooter or bike program, and partnering with nearby churches or the University of Arkansas for additional parking. And Thanksgiving is less than a week away, and across our area, you came out to help those in need. When we come back, the final count from the 6th annual Feeding Hope Turkey Drive. And with Christmas right around the corner, local cities are getting into the holiday spirit, where you can go for some holiday cheer.